Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call the February 5th meeting of the Common Council to order. I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Rote.
Here.
Sangstack.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barsak.
Here.
Chapletsky.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst.
Here.
Ranke.
Here.
10 present, none excused.
We have a quorum. Alderman Dan Rote will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have 2 items for public hearing this evening. I'll ask the clerk to read item 1.
A hearing on the improvement of various alleys as listed in agenda item number 1 by the removal and reconstruction of the concrete alley pavement, storm sewer relay, building services, and storm under drain.
Mr. Daniels?
Okay, this is the public hearing for the 14 alleys that are being reconstructed this summer. Here are the procedures for tonight. I'll go through the project scope and cost. We'll discuss assessment rates, methods of payment, then we'll have comments and questions from the Common Council, and then from citizens affected. Then the hearing will be closed and the project will be referred to the Board of Public Works, and we would expect a final decision by the council later tonight. I won't read all 14 alleys, but I'll page through them. You'll see that most of them were originally paved in the 1920s, and they were resurfaced in the 70s or 80s. Several of these alleys are actually in the downtown behind some of the businesses. I think we're doing 4. This is one of them. Here's another one. Here's another one in the downtown. So there's 14 alleys in all, varying widths, and but like I said, mostly paved in the 20s, resurfaced in the 70s. Okay, here are some sample pictures from the alleys. We have lots and lots of potholes. We have lots of cracking. I call it alligator cracking because it looks like the back of an alligator. Lots of rutting. You can see here the original 1920s concrete is underneath the 1970s asphalt, and it's peeling off. The rutting, the water doesn't know where to go because there's no defined V anymore to carry the water. Trouble around the catch basins. Very expensive for Public Works to come out and continually patch these alleys. This is what the typical finished product will look like. It'll be a brand new concrete alley with new catch basins, new storm sewer. So as I said, most of these alleys, the concrete pavement was installed in the 20s, making them at least 84 years old, and then most of the concrete was resurfaced with asphalt in the 1970s, so the resurface is already 34 years old. We give the contractor 25 working days for each individual alley, each of the 14 alleys, plus up to 10 days in between the underground and the paving work. So it could be up to 7 weeks if there was bad weather and if there was a delay between the underground and the paving. The work includes new storm sewer, 5-inch crushed stone base, a new 7-inch concrete alley pavement. There'll be a V drainage channel in the middle defined for the water to go. We may have to take 2 to 3 feet of the adjoining concrete or asphalt approaches in order to get the new pavement in to form the concrete, but that would all be replaced in like kind at no extra cost to the homeowner. The homeowners may, though, contract with the contractor to have the rest of their driveway done at their cost if they would like. And the homeowners will be given parking permits to park on streets during the time when they aren't able to get into their garage. Here's the estimated paving cost for all 14 alleys is $516,000. The storm sewer for all 14 alleys is $425,000, so this will be a $941,000 contract. We have different assessment rates depending on the width, so essentially you get what you pay for. If you have a 12-foot alley, it's $23.89 for residential, $29.86 for commercial. And if you have a 20-foot alley, you're paying $30.89 residential, $38.61 commercial. So for all 14 alleys, all of the special assessments will return $292,000. So that is 56% of the total paving cost. Here's a sample residential assessment for a typical 14-foot width alley, assuming a 40-foot lot, and the assessment rate's $25.67. The cost would be $1,026.80. I want to stress at this point that the bills would not be mailed out until March of 2014 after all the work is done in 2013. We do offer the lump sum payment, but also a 5-year plan or a 10-year installment plan is available. So assuming you have a 14-foot alley like above and that you spread your special assessments over the 10-year period with the 4% interest, the first year payment would be $144, and the 10th year payment in the year 2023 would be $107. Now, the city has funded projects with special assessments for over 100 years. Properties that receive a unique benefit from the project have historically been assessed up to 100% of the cost until recently. And on this particular project, the assessments are bringing in 56% of the cost. This is a map of everyone who's received a special assessment in the past 10 years. So as you can see, it's just about everyone, at least on the east side of West Dallas. Many of these are people who have paid for their alleys, paid for their streets. And that's how we do things in West Dallas. It's that you pay for the street and the alley in front of your property, and although you use other people's streets, you pay for the alley and street in front of your property and not somebody else's. So you'll see that almost everyone here has paid their fair share as well. Now, the city will borrow the funds for the paving portion of this project, and the city will have to pay interest to these bondholders over the next 10 years. So the city passes along that interest charge to any resident that chooses the 5 or 10-year payment plan. The city does not make a profit off the interest that we're charging, the 4% interest. So that is it. If there are any comments or questions from the council, they will be heard now.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Are there any questions or comments from the council on this public hearing item?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May.
Real quick, just want to let everyone on the council know I did receive a call from a person on Mitchell expressing her favorable outlook on the alley reconstruction. There were 3 things that they were concerned about. One was state fair traffic. Pete, I believe we had talked that that alley probably would be done in October, well after state fair. The second one was policing. Do police increase their presence on the streets during?
Yes, we advise the police, and they patrol the area more than they normally would.
And the third thing being trailers on the street. Typically, we do not allow the parking of trailers on the street. If someone has a boat or something, can they park that on the street?
No, they would have to find someplace else to park that, I believe.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience on this item? If you can sign in on the one podium and then use the microphone to your left. And please state your name and address for our record.
Okay, thank you. My name is David Bump. I live at 1000 South 63rd Street, basically 63rd and Mineral, and one of the alleys that's going to be reconstructed. I really just had a question, more so than a comment, although my alley does really need it. It's the only one in the neighborhood that hasn't been done in the last several years. When we got our notice of the hearing and the estimate of the bill and everything, there was something included about a storm sewer lateral. How do I even know if I have one of those?
Most people do not. Rarely do people actually get a storm lateral off the alley, but we just wanted to make you aware that if you have a problem with your basement and you need someplace to go with the water, you can do that.
Mine goes out to the street. Okay. And You mentioned that it could be up to 7 weeks for the whole project to be done.
Right.
From
Correct.
when, are they going to stagger the start times?
Yeah,
'Cause
there's 14 alleys, so the first alley will be, I think, starting in July, and the last alley would be in October. So I can't tell you exactly when they would get to your alley, but...
That's okay, just so long as I have some kind of an idea of,
But you would get a letter a couple weeks beforehand telling you that your alley is starting.
okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Anybody else wish to address the council?
Hi, Barbara Ross at 1204 South 75th. I too am very pleased I'm getting a new alley. Who's the contractor and how do we contact them, or will we find that out?
You'll find out when you get your letter. We don't have it all designed yet, so we haven't gone to
Okay.
bid. So when we have a low bidder and we have the contractor, you'll get this letter a couple of weeks before we start, and it'll have the contractor's name and phone number if you want to
We
add.
can just call them
Yep.
for any additional.
Absolutely.
That's all I had. You answered everything
Okay.
else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Vicki Tapp. I am at 1342 South 57th. Was a happy new homeowner until I got this assessment. I wanted to know, you just stated that you do not have a contractor and you've not gotten the bids out yet. So how did you come about the dollar amount on this so far then?
It doesn't matter what the actual cost is. The council sets those rates, $25 for everyone in the city. Everyone's treated exactly the same. It's about half the cost. As you saw, it was 56%. So when we actually get bids, it's irrelevant really to your cost. You will pay what's on your estimate. The council has set that rate so that everyone is treated equally and fairly. Doesn't matter, you know.
Well, I get, it does matter to me because I don't use my alley. I'm like one of the few people on my street that actually has a driveway off the street, not an alley entrance. So it does matter to me where this dollar amount is coming from.
Well, we do assess whether you have a driveway or not because a lot of the city services that you receive are coming from the alley. You get your garbage picked up back there. You get your electricity back
Put it on
there.
the street for you.
You get your telephone, your cable TV, police patrol. A lot of the services are coming from the alley, and everyone pays whether they're using it for their driveway or not because it does service their property. So.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jeff Matheson, 1138 South 75th. My question is relating to parking. We have two vehicles. We park one in the garage and one in a carport. So I know a lot of people on our block have multiple vehicles that don't need to park in the street. I'm thinking there may not be enough room on the street for everybody to park. Are they going to allow parking on both sides, or is there any thought about that? Because we do have a lot of people that do park on the street as it is.
You may have to park, a block away. The 7, you won't have to park on the street for the whole 7 weeks. I should be a little clear. I mean, while they're doing sewer work, you'll be able to get in every week, every day for a couple of weeks probably. And then it's just when they take the pavement out for the last 3 weeks, last 15 days, that while the concrete's curing, that you won't be able to park in there. But they do, like I said, we're going to give permits. Yeah, you may have to park up a block away or so, but
One other question, since we're right by the fair park, so I'm going to guess that that'll be considered, so we're
Right.
not during fair week.
right, we forbid the contractor from working during the fair week for those alleys that are within like a mile radius of the fair. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Brian Curtis. I live on 57th Street, 1336. I've been there since 97. You've redone the road and the sidewalk. The house to the north of me, the sidewalk's buckling ridiculously. And when you say you're trying to low bid people, but it doesn't affect our cost, why is that?
Well, state law requires that we take the lowest bidder. Just to prevent from hiring our brother or something. I mean, we have to take the low bidder The city does.
Okay,
Is that
well,
what
my
you're
dad
asking?
poured concrete his whole life, and he says it's high.
The sidewalk.
No, just in general, what you're doing right now.
Oh, the cost, okay.
I
Well,
mean, where do you get these figures from?
from previous year's work, this is about what it cost last year. We're putting in a lot of storm sewer, we're digging it out, we're putting in stone, there wasn't stone under there previously when they put it in 1920, there wasn't storm sewer under there when they put it in 1920. We're taking the lowest bid we can get.
But it doesn't
Guaranteed.
help us out if you get a low bid.
No, because the council sets the rates so that, and you're only paying half the cost, so you're well below, full
So you
cost.
said something about police presence. What was that about?
The police will patrol the neighborhood because they know that there's a lot of cars on the street, and just to make sure that there's no vandalism or something.
Okay, well, I wish I'd spend more time in my neighborhood.
Thanks for your comments. Any other questions or comments on the public hearing? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 1, and I will ask clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the special use permit to establish a Marco's Pizza restaurant within a portion of the multi-tenant commercial building at 1715 through 1723 South 76th Street, submitted by Melissa Klatchin of Family Video.
Mr. Stiebel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the southwest corner of South 70th Street and National Avenue is this old Kohl's grocery store area. It's about 13,000 square feet. 9,000 is currently occupied by the video store, 2,200 by the Subway, and the Marco's Pizza will be at the southern end of additional 2,500 square feet. It's zoning for a C2 because it's a restaurant. It requires a special use, and that's the purpose of this public hearing today. There'll be no drive-through service at Mario's Pizza. 54 parking spaces are required of the entire development, 13 of the pizza place, and 60 are provided on site, and their hours of operation will be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be a hood to help vent the pizza place, but it'll come out through the side of the building. This area here, this black asphalt area, is their property, so it'll go out of the building and then shoot up into the air for ventilation. The Plan Commission has reviewed this and has recommended approval, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any questions or comments from the council on this item?
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Probst? Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Stiebel, do you have any idea why they have not required or requested, a drive-through?
They did.
Or did we didn't, I mean,
In
is
order
it
to
something
have
Plan
a
Commission doesn't want?
drive-through, they would almost be in the alley, and we would not
Correct.
allow them to stack
what I was wondering.
cars in the alley. In some of the restaurant, or some of their pizza places they do have that.
That's why
But
I
they
asked.
did not plan on having it here because of that fact.
Okay.
Alderman Weigel?
John, I was at the Plan Commission meeting, and there was some discussion. If you could go back to the slide that shows the external exhaust fan. I guess I'm not real happy, and I think there was a discussion about actually having that fan being mounted higher up with an external duct. And I know there was a discussion about perhaps working with staff on that. I understand it would be expensive to run it internally within the building, but my concern is that even with the angle, that most of those fumes are going to end up in that backyard at that house there, and I guess that's my only concern. And I seem to remember that the people from the pizzeria said that they would investigate that and work with staff. So I guess my question is this the final plan we're talking about, or was there a talk about doing more of a vertical stack with the fan up higher?
This is the final plan, and once the aldermen get done asking their questions and the public can come to the podium, a representative of the developer could also address that if you have any additional questions
Thank
on
you.
that issue.
And then my other concern was the 1 a.m. Family Videos next door. Are they open that late? Do we happen? Subway isn't open that late. The other tenant in that building. I'm just concerned about the lateness of the hour.
I don't recall.
Okay. I can answer that also. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Are there any other questions or comments from the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Barzak?
I'm just going to piggyback on what Alderman Weigel said. Like Alderman Weigel, I've been a little bit on the other side of the restaurant business, but I've been in the restaurant business many years. And that can be extremely annoying. And once it's in there, can't change it. I'm just going to take a Burger King, for example, that was over on right off of Highway 100 in Greenfield. And if we could do it over again, which it did close down eventually, but if we could do that one over again, I mean, there's no way that Burger King would be put in with the amount of exhaust that went out of there. And when you got deep fryers and you got things like that going, we just got to be extremely careful, because that is the alley, and there are residents right there. And if that's not vented properly, they are going to smell that, and they're going to smell it for a long time. I'll bring up the example of Oscar's on Highway 100. And you can talk to the people in the apartments right behind Oscar's. If they could have that over again, I don't think that would happen if they knew what it would do. But once it's there, you can't stop it. So we got to be extremely careful and got to be real aware of that vent is going to do what it's supposed to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Probst?
Mr. Stiebel, did the residents that have their homes backed up to that alley there, have they voiced any concern personally? Have they come forward?
We have received no objections to date, and every resident within 300 feet of this has gotten a notice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay. Seeing none, are there questions or comments from the audience?
My name's Eric Berg. I represent Marco's Pizza. We have agreed to vent it out to the roof height and a place that exhaust unit at roof level. We're going to paint it to match the building. We just don't have a drawing from our architect at this time. So,
thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay. Seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2. Move on to page 2 on your agenda, citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on matters of interest to them. We limit this portion to approximately 30 minutes, and we ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes. Is there anybody who wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Ask that you state your name and address for our record.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Carol Graham, 1808 South 63rd Street. Hi, guys, I'm back.
Hello.
Some of you have been around a long, long time and would remember when the council took the water bill off of the tax bill because you were lowering our taxes. And you gave us water bills now, okay? When you're on a fixed income like I am, okay, and every 3 months you get a water bill for $143, $134, and basically all you're using is $10 worth of water, my proposal to the council is do what you do when you send out the tax bill. And it is feasible. I talked to people today within the city hall, and they're worried about postage. Postage baloney. When you send out our taxes for the end of the year, you send us a bill with 3 payments. You have a choice. You can pay it all at one time. You can pay it at 3 increments. Why can't you do it with the water bill every month, every 3 months, okay? If you send out a water bill and you send 3 payment stickers, you either have the option of paying the whole bill or paying your portion. For me, to pay $43 or $50 3 times for 3 separate months is a lot easier on my budget than having to take $143 or $134 and handing it all out at one time. Most of you are lucky. You don't have to count your pennies. You don't have to worry about Peter and Paul. My Peter and Paul are so poor, they're going to St. Michael's because there's nobody left to go to anymore. Okay? You've got to think of everybody and the situations we're in nowadays. You're putting in roads. You're putting in alleys. This is taking money out of our pockets that isn't there. Literally, you are driving the elderly right out of the city of West Dallas. We don't have it. And if you could pay that water bill in increments, it would be a lot better. And this isn't something that the council has to mull over for umpteen years. This can be settled in one meeting. I'm usually at home watching these meetings on TV and laughing at some of the answers when they show you guys when you break to go to your separate meetings. Okay? You need to think of the citizens of West Dallas. Other municipalities do it. Why can't we? And it can be done. And the mailing thing, you mail 3 at a time. Gas, phone, electric, cell phone, cable. They all send you a monthly bill. You can even set it up so you can pay it by your computers. Okay? Then it's saving everybody postage. Okay? All right? It's ridiculous. You've got to start thinking of the elderly and ways to keep us here. And money. Money is, if you knew what I had to live on in 1 month, you couldn't do it. Okay? And that's why I'm here asking you to do it that way. Because it comes down to, do you buy your meds? Do you buy food? Do you keep the heat on? Or do you pay the water bill? And if everything is broken down where you can divide your money up a little more equally, and don't say, put it, just store it on the side, put it away, it doesn't happen. Because you run short. And I have one more thing. I wasn't going to bring this up today, but on Saturday in our mail, we received a letter about a little problem with little critters in our neighborhood. I think that there should be a mandatory garbage can thing for the city of West Dallas, that everybody has to have a city garbage can that has this lid and that, because it's going to cut down on this critter problem. And a lot of other municipalities have the same thing where it's mandatory. You have to have that garbage, a city garbage can. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening?
My name is Michael Giangreco. I'm at 8735 West Mitchell Street. I'm for reconsideration tonight. I was told at this portion I should introduce myself and make sure that I'm known.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the council under citizen participation?
One other quick question, Jeff Matheson, 1138 South 75th. Could I just get an update on the skateboarding park that's going to be made over there around 81st and National area?
Yeah,
I haven't heard much of it.
We can't discuss during this portion because of
sorry.
a potential open meetings violation, but we
sorry.
can catch you at recess and get you an update.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Anybody else wish to address the council?
I'm sorry, I was just told that I should speak my piece now because I wouldn't get a chance later. So basically what happened was in June of last year, my lawn was mowed by the city of West Dallas. I had just planted sod, fresh sod, a few weeks before, and I was letting it grow out because the sod wasn't adhering properly. The city sent me a letter explaining to me that it was too long, which I knew it was too long, and I had to cut my lawn. So I cut my lawn. I have 2 letters which have been supplied to you. Letters and pictures have all been supplied to you guys, as I have copies tonight as well. When I got the letter, I mowed my lawn immediately. And then 3 weeks later, my lawn was mowed again by the city of West Dallas without a second letter. As soon as I got the bill, I called Mike Rushmer, which I know personally because he's the forestry department, head of the forestry department. I called him and told him the situation. I said, Mike, my sod was not adhering. That's why I wasn't cutting it earlier. And it kept pulling up every time I tried to mow my lawn. He said, we lay sod all the time, and that's not a problem for us. Okay, I don't lay a sod all the time. It was a problem for me. And I said, I mowed my lawn. I have letters from people my renter and her father, explaining that I had mowed my lawn, and he said, no, they're not gonna listen to me, and he's gonna decline it right away. I appealed the situation before it escalated. In October, I appealed the situation. I was told 2 to 3 weeks I would hear from the attorney, okay? I called the attorney after 3 weeks, and the attorney said, whoever told you that was wrong, that it would take at least 60 to 120 days before it even went into the council. So I followed all the protocol, and when I talked to the lawyer immediately told me, before he even opened my case, before he looked at any pictures or read any letters, he told me flat out that the council is going to do whatever Mike Rushmer tells them to do. This is before Mike Rushmer looked at my case and before the attorney even opened my case, and he flat out told me on the phone, I haven't even looked at your case yet, but we're just going to do whatever Mike Rushmer says to do, because he's the head of the forestry department. I feel snowballed. I feel like I was declined before I even got a chance to speak. Now, the reason why this is up for reconsideration is because when I came in to find out how to get on the docket for tonight, I was told by the clerk, here's your file number, go on the website on these days every 2 weeks and look up your file number and make sure that when you're on the docket to show up at that council meeting and speak on your behalf. Fantastic. I was checking, and there was some new construction on the website, and I never saw my name on the docket. So that's why I missed my appointment last month to come and speak in front of you. Okay? I'm a business owner. This is actually a rental property of mine. I have time to research these things. I have time, and I have a law firm on my behalf. I have a lot of resources that I can use, and I feel that I was completely declined and thrown under the bus before it even came to you. I was very upset when I heard this from an attorney and from the head of your forestry department that it would be immediately declined before you guys even looked at it. Okay? I'm very, very disappointed. My pictures prove that in the front lawn, there was no difference between the before and after, okay? And my back lawn is completely fenced in except for a missing gate that I have not installed yet. And due to the problem with the sod not adhering, I don't feel that this is necessary, to be charged $200 to mow a very small lawn. A very small plot, and I don't think it's a big deal, but $200 to mow my lawn was really high, considering that I don't even think they mowed the front lawn because there was no trimmings, no clippings, and there's no difference in the pictures. All I ask is that you consider that maybe I was wrongly mowed, basically. My next door neighbor is disabled, and their lawn gets mowed probably 3 to 4 times a year by the city. The city was there mowing their lawn, and they said, well, let's mow this guy's lawn because we have a ticket open for him. The only part that I played that was wrong on my part, and I do admit that I made a mistake on my part, I did not call when the work was finished, which was asked for in the letter to call when the work was completed. My problem was, at the time of receiving this letter, I was in the process of moving. I do not live there. It is a rental property. I live in Milwaukee now, just a few blocks away. And I lost the letter in the move while we were shuffling and rearranging things. I lost the letter, so I did not see the last part. All I saw was the first part, please mow the lawn. I mowed the lawn immediately. I did not see the second part that said, call us when the work is complete. So please reconsider that I was told by 2 of your head of your forestry department and your attorney on staff, I was told by both of them before anybody looked at my file that this would be immediately declined, and that's exactly what happened last month, was you declined my case without any consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under citizen participation? Okay, we will close citizen participation and move on to item F on your agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. Those room numbers are on page 2. I'm moving on to item G, Mayor's report. I have a couple things this evening. In the tradition of phenomenal drive-through food at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, we have a drive-through Girl Scout cookie booth from several West Dallas troops that will be going on this coming Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday and Friday from 6 to 9 a.m. and from 3 to 6 p.m. and also on Saturday from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Won't read off all the cookie names, but as you probably know, $3.75 a box. Second, I want to congratulate the Nathan Hale wrestling team on taking their second straight title at the Greater Metro Conference with a win over Menominee Falls. I heard that the preceding tournament didn't go as well as they hoped, but they have a lot to be proud of, and I want to wish them, as well as West Allis Central, the best of luck in the upcoming regional and the remaining tournaments. This coming Saturday, February 9th, the Community Alliance Against Drugs has their annual Winter Family Festival at Nathan Hale High School. It is from 6:30 till 9:30. It's free admission if you're a member of the Community Alliance Against Drugs. They're going to have inflatable toys in the gym, food, movies, face painting. I think they have a DJ. It's a good family night. They are asking people to bring a can of soup to be donated to local food pantries. And lastly, the annual West Allis Community Dinner Dance is coming up on the 23rd of March at Knights of Columbus. This year, the beneficiary is one of our community events, the Settlers Weekend, which happens every fall at Honey Creek Park. Tickets are $45 or a table of 8 for $320. That concludes the mayor's report. Do we have any alderperson's comments this evening?
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Vitale?
Yeah, I would like to follow up somewhat, a little bit what I heard tonight during citizen participations in regard to the forestry department. Well, the forestry department have to follow up rules based on city ordinance by the council. So the questions of long grass during the summer months, the fact stands that we have an ordinance in place. We give the property owners plenty of time. Really, the forestry department, they give enough time, whether it's 7 days, I believe, or 8 days, by the time they get the letter and by the time the loan gets cut. So it's not the questions, the city just go ahead and have a private contract, which is a private contract, does handle that Mike Rushmore is telling the alderman what to do. It's not the issue here. The forestry department has followed what is written within a city municipality, within the common council that was approved, I believe a couple of years ago, that we reduced the amount of days. So to me, it's inappropriate that we make some statement that, they will hear that the city has rules, and rules that sometimes they come up because neighbors complain within our community based on facts, based on city regulations. And regulations, they do come up because based on complaints from citizens. That's so the city has to follow, because we have to have rules to keep the community in clean conditions. If we don't have no rules, we have a lot of absentee landlord that we have to be after many times, whether it's a building codes violations, cutting the grass, never get cuts for 2-3 weeks at a time, or a month in the summer months. That's the reason we apply rules. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other alderperson's comments?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Probst.
I have 3 real quick items to follow up on Alderman Vitale, just to make sure that there's some information out there. In order for the city to come out and cut a lawn, there must be a complaint leveled. The city doesn't have, we don't send our public works guys and our forestry department out to look for grass that needs to be cut. Someone in the neighborhood, someone nearby needs to call and lodge a complaint. They've either called an alderman or they've called directly here to the city, just an FYI. Second, I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that the 2nd District will be holding a listening session this week, Thursday. This meeting will be held here at City Hall in room 128, rather than at the library this month. So if you're able and in the 2nd District and would like to meet with Alderman Weigel and myself, we'll hope to see you on Thursday night at 7 in room 128. And lastly, I have to make a pitch for the 2 local high schools. They have done some phenomenal work in their wrestling program. Both Hale and Central have had a numerous number of wrestlers take conference titles this past week. So if you haven't been out there, the Pom Pom Squad at Hale also made it to state as well. So there's a lot of good things happening athletically as well as academically at both of our schools. So if you haven't paid attention, please do so.
Thank you. Any other alderperson's comments?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Weigel.
I'd like to also let the folks around Jefferson School know that Alderman Probst, myself, and I want to say 8 other city staff members met at Jefferson School last week along with school district staff and parents We are looking into the traffic concerns around Jefferson, on Beecher, on 74th Street. Yes, it is a problem. Yes, we're working on it. And I do know that our engineering staff is already scheduling a meeting with school district staff. Hopefully, we can find a solution. I understand also that they already, one of the quickest things that was done was the crossing guard got a new LED illuminated stop sign, which she holds up, which is doing a much better job already, I guess. Also, mark your calendars. I know it's cold outside right now, but Sunday, June 2nd, is the 6th annual West Allis a la carte. That's that great street festival where we close off Greenfield Avenue in downtown and all the restaurants come out, there's bands and all that stuff. So I know it seems like a long way away, but it'll be here very quickly. So mark your calendars, Sunday, June 2nd, noon to 6 p.m. Thanks.
Thanks, Alderman Weigel. Any other alderpersons' comments?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May.
Just a quick note that with the Greenfield Avenue Bridge being down, the state of Wisconsin gave a grant to the West Allis Police Department to step up enforcement on our local streets, particularly in that neighborhood to the north of Greenfield Avenue, to increase the enforcement and get people pulled over for speeding through the neighborhood. They have used that grant well. And again, stick to the arterials if you can. If you're going to drive through the local streets, just know that the cops are there. Drive the speed limit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody from the other side of the room have any comments?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
Ms. Clerk, are there any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda?
There are no changes.
I would then move for approval of the agenda as submitted.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion? That's pretty good. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of January 15th, 2013.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman May. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item J on your agenda is item not referred to committee. I'll ask for motion to refer items 3, 4, 5, and 6 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Probst, second by Alderman Barzak. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Standing committee reports, License and Health Committee, Alderman Chaplesky.
Did we have any dissension in there? Was it all unanimous? I think it was all unanimous.
I'd like to report on items numbers 7 through 11, tonight's agenda. These are voted for approval or placed on file by 3 members of the committee, with 2 members being excused. Number 12 was voted to place on file by 4 members of the committee, with 1 member excused. And number 13 is going back to committee. I'd like to move for the adoption of the committee's report.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Barzak. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item L, we have a request for a motion to reconsider.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May.
I move to reconsider the grass removal charges sustained at 8735 West Mitchell to send the item back to committee.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Weigel. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Rote.
Aye.
Sangstack.
No.
Vitale.
No.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chaplesky.
Aye.
Lysick.
No.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
7 in favor, 3 opposed.
Okay, the item is before us.
The motion was to send it back to committee.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was to send it back to committee. I thought you were reconsidering first. Okay. Never mind, it's not before us, it's back in committee.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Reinke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in recess.
Let the record reflect that all members of the Administrative Finance Committee are present, as those are for the Public Works Committee.
Public Works members are here?
Yep.
In a comment.
Yep. So, number 15 is communication with the Assistant City Engineer regarding a proposal to establish a private property infiltration reduction fund. Joe Birch. You have the floor.
I know I explained to most of you what the purpose of this is. Actually, will take care of two issues that we have. One is that we have too much clear water getting into our sanitary system. This allows us to go and attack over half of the system is private. So we got 180 miles of public. We spend $2.5 million a year constructing improvements for that. There's 200 miles of private and we do nothing with, and most residents do nothing with. This is a proposal that would impact residential properties only. So this is 1 to 3 units, no commercial, manufacturing, or institutional. The reason for that would be their systems sometimes are larger. They may have a separate line going into manhole to manhole. So it would be hard to compare in order to get a charge for them. So, so again, what this would do is allow us to go onto private property to remove the largest form of I&I, the most quantity that we can for the least amount of money. And in return, the homeowners would get a rehabilitated lateral and a sump pump installed if they don't have one. The other thing that would be a benefit of this is we can cover failed sanitary laterals. So if you have a collapsed pipe structural failure, we can go in there and fix it on an emergency basis. We have the funding for it then. So, and for the fee of $32 a year, you know, it will add something to somebody's bill somewhere, either the utility bill or the tax bill. But I guess a good argument for that would be if you don't have any money, you have your lateral fail and you got a $10,000 bill now that you have to pay. You can't afford that. So it's a good benefit for people that have less money. What this would do is the lateral would remain private property. The city would take over only the structural maintenance of it if there's a structural failure, or if the property owner can show us that it is very leaky, which roots getting into the line mean it's leaking. And so if they have their lateral cleaned, they have it televised, they can show us the video, and we can determine whether it can be put on a list to be rehabilitated, or if it's failed, we can do it on an emergency basis. So the property owner would still be responsible for regular maintenance, cleaning, and if their lateral gets blocked, they'd still call a plumber, and if it can be cleared, they have to pay for that. If it's failed, then the city can come in and repair the lateral. So that's the general idea of this. If you have
So would you
questions.
propose that that $8 quarterly payment be, when does it start? This year or next year?
Well, I'd like it to start as soon as possible. I know there's, for this year so far, well, actually since just before Christmas, we've had about 5 lateral failures. So there's some people that have their lateral unplugged for the time being and they're waiting, hoping it doesn't collapse again. So the sooner the better for some. You know, and it's better for us too, because we need to start removing the clear water from the system. So this is a similar system or similar plan to what MMSD has. They fund, they supply us money to fund private property projects right now. Currently we have our sump pumps going in on 56th Street from National to the North City limits. And we just finished up a project south of Beloit Road, east of 76th Street. Same kind of thing. We line the laterals, we put sump pumps in. With good success so far.
Joe, my understanding is that, I know through discussions we talked about this, and that the lifespan of a lateral is right around 75 years, is that correct?
Yeah, that's one thing I.
So at some point, everybody in the city of West Dallas is gonna need this service, and when it comes to you, it comes at a huge shock. And we just talked about somebody that had just a small portion replaced, and it was like $12,000, and they had to pay, and they just had a portion. Now they gotta hope the rest doesn't collapse, or they'll be right back at another $12,000.
Right, I was talking to someone that had a piece repaired in their yard. They paid over $6,000 for that. They have another failure in the street. And they were able to clear it this time, but there's a big hole in the pipe. They're for this program because if they can pay for that, then 2 years down the line they have another failure and they pay another $10,000.
And then my other understanding is the city of Milwaukee offers an insurance policy to do the same thing at $100.
Not exactly that, but it's
darn close.
Yeah, there's a contractor that wanted to basically get in the business of repairing laterals, like an insurance. For $100 a year, voluntary, you sign up for it, they'll cover you, and it's got caps on it, $6,000 on the repair, $4,000 for the pavement restoration. So we've seen a lot of them go over that. So you'd still be on the hook for sometimes.
Thank you.
With essentially a $32 annual
insurance
mandated insurance policy for property owners, that's what this would be.
Yes, and a big reason for this is, well over half the properties in West Dallas are more than 75 years old.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time before we see an increase in the failures, and this could put somebody out of their house. You buy a house now, you get an $80,000 mortgage, and then you got to come up with 10 grand. They don't have a place to come up with 10 grand.
Paul Ziller?
Just a couple of comments. One is we have about 17,000 properties in the city. Joe, I think your thing said, at an average of $6,000 per property if they all failed, and they all won't fail at one time, but the total liability we're picking up for this program, so you need is $6,000 times 17,000 properties. If they all eventually failed over 100 years or something, is about $100 million. Just so you hear the liability amount we're picking up. And the other point I make is the council will have to eventually decide whether you want it on the property tax bill or the utility bill. We heard somebody just happened to say tonight about the price of the utility bill and how high it is. It would add another $8 quarterly. And if you want it on the property tax bill instead, obviously we can't do that till the end of the year for next year. So if you go the property tax bill route, we can't collect it now because the property tax bills are already out for this year. So that would delay the money coming in until next year.
Well, President Probst?
Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to come into the engineering department in Public Works, and I had the, I don't know if it was the pleasure or not, but I got a chance to see what the sewer system looks like. And in numerous places, these failed, the pipes that are failing are in horrendous condition. And until you have the opportunity to look below our streets and see the condition of some of these, you have no idea what a failed pipe looks like and the damage that it can cause in a neighborhood. So it's definitely a good idea for the long-term maintenance of our city.
Now this price here, I mean, we have, this year we got $400,000 from MMSD to do work on private property to remove clear water. That on top of what we would be collecting here would get us in approximately the 100-year cycle to get to every home. And I think the procedures that will be developed over the next few years, because this is getting bigger and bigger every year, and there's more contracts, so there will be more technology, and the prices are going to be coming down to do some of this work.
Mr. Chairman, but Joe, it's not guaranteed. You're talking about the price will go down, because there's going to be various contractors that are going to come forward. I mean, how can we base it on that?
Not really
just we're speculating at this point. Really, it's not actual facts. It's not.
What I'm looking at is this would get us enough to cover about $200,000 for immediate repairs when needed. $300,000 to go into an area and be proactive and get some of the laterals done in areas where we need to bring the flows down.
All right, Rosalie.
Thank you, Alderman Singstock. I have a couple questions. I agree with Alderman Probst. Our pipes are disintegrating at a rapid rate. Have any other communities tried this method that we're pursuing?
There's a number of methods that people have tried. I included in the memo. Some of the other cities had examples. MMSD was good enough to send me some examples from around the country. So there were very different ways of attacking this. Some of them looked at replacing, for a $200 fee, they would replace what's in the right-of-way and then offer some cost to go the remainder of the way to repair the laterals. There were some that they required an inspection, and then from the inspection they just mandated the work get done. So it was up to the homeowner to just pay, which probably wouldn't go over very big here. So. But we were seeing about, from what we televised, we saw about 80% failure on laterals. So it's kind of scary in the areas that we
Mr.
get.
Chairman?
Also, I'm not through.
You're not through.
Kelly, please. Will there be a sunset clause on this, or will this be on our bills forever?
This will be on the bill forever.
Forever, I see. I hesitate somewhat in adding any more fees on our utility bill. I know I had said water bill to you, and you corrected me. This is now a utility bill. It's for everything related to sewer and water.
This isn't an increase in any cost. This is an entirely new service that we provide. And it would protect the property owners from possible, losing the home. Because these bills can be very high. We've done a couple of repairs that went over $30,000. So when I was on the east side, that's pretty devastating for some people who can't come up with $1,000. So.
Right. Well, it definitely is a low-cost insurance policy for our homeowners. But I had listened to the lady that explained how difficult it is for these bills that come out quarterly. Had we ever considered doing it monthly? I know the cost probably would be a little bit more expensive. However, I'd like to know basically what the cost would be monthly versus quarterly. Sometime, I know this doesn't have anything to do with now.
I hope you're not talking about monthly bill for $32.
No, monthly bill for the utility bill itself.
Okay, and then this order, Alderperson wrote, then we have Alderman May, and then we have Vince again, and then Marty, you too? Okay.
Now we're hearing from the other side of the council, as the mayor said.
I have one comment about what you're saying is, the woman that spoke in there, if she found out her lateral failed and had this $10,000 bill in front of her, I don't know how she would pay it. So by having this small fee, she wouldn't have to worry about that. So.
Right, Dan?
If I may, this is pretty much just an insurance policy, right?
Yes.
To some degree, and then why can't we?
No, that's a side benefit. The biggest reason that we need it as a city is to remove the clear water from our sanitary system, which will reduce the amount of sewer backups, hopefully eliminate them at some point.
And we looked at all to the private sector to run this. As an insurance thing, like, say to the people of West Dallas, well, we're considering this right now. If you opt in or opt out.
We contract to the private sector to have this work done. So we just control where the work is getting done.
Okay. And then how will the homeowner prove if there's infiltration?
With the video, when they inspect the laterals, they videotape them, and they can show us the video.
So the owner pays for the videotaping?
Yes.
And on this $32 annually, how long do we think it'll be $32 annually?
Until we reach a point where we can't keep up. and we'd have to look at raising that.
Which
If it happened.
Which you said was like $300,000, right, for the first?
560,000, because
I may have missed it, I apologize.
It's 550 along with the 400 from MSD, so you might have 900,000.
an MMSD, I'm not sure how long they'll have to respond. We have somebody from MMSD in the audience if you'd like them to.
The other aldermen, maybe they have comments.
All right, all person me.
A few things, Joe. I understand this is a communication for us, so we're not really probably going to be approving anything today. But there's a couple things to consider if this does come before us as an ordinance or a resolution of some sort. One, a good definition of what a failure is and what a failure is not. I think we would need to know what that is. If I have roots coming into my lateral and there's a hole in it, is that a failure? I have a feeling that we would get a lot of people within the very first year asking for improvements. Second, would this be put into a separate fund? And if so, I think a 3/4 majority would be needed to touch that money for any other purpose
I'm
than
thinking-
this.
I'm thinking that it would have to be a separate fund and all of it used on the private property.
Okay. And then the last thing is the liability, to have a good idea of what our liability and our risk is on this, because as you mentioned, there is a risk. You have an earthquake or something and things shift and must we provide that to all people then in that case? Or, I mean, what's our limitation? What's our maximum cap on something like this? I
Well,
guess?
we always have the ability to go back and reset the price.
Can you do it retroactively though after a
Catastrophe?
Mhm.
You know, I'm not sure, in a catastrophe, I don't
I
think we
think
can
it's a
plan
decent
for that.
idea. I just want to make sure our butts are
Yeah.
covered, I guess, is
Yeah.
a way to put it.
That's something I'll have to talk to Scott about, but, you can't design for a catastrophe, I guess.
Right.
Because we'd charge, what if we charge too much? What are we gonna do with the excess?
I agree. I think that's where it goes to. Maybe we put something in there, some exceptions and
What
things
we
like
could
that.
do is go to a special assessment for the work. You know, if all of a sudden it boomed, we just raise that special assessment to cover more of the cost.
Which the individual homeowner with the problem would pay that special
Right,
assessment.
but for the purpose of this, we go in on a volunteer basis and we want to reduce the clear water. We pick a couple blocks and go in and say, you get all of this, just let us get in your house and fix this. We're only getting 80 to 90% right now with doing it for free. So you put an assessment on there, nobody's gonna want it, so.
Marty?
Just a couple quick things. So we're not talking, all this work will be done by private contractors. We're not talking about having to expand city, hiring for city employees to
It'll all
manage
be
this. or-
done on contract.
Not even like emergency. Nope.
We handle some emergency ones now that are at the main, and we just call a contractor,
Okay.
or the plumber that's working for the homeowner digs it himself.
And as you said, we don't know how long MMSD is going to continue at the current level of 400,000 per year.
We don't.
That might go up, it might go down, we don't know. Okay.
Right.
But the point is that when we start this program, we're essentially accepting responsibility to do this work going forward. This is
And-
a commitment we're making to our property owners.
Yes.
That when your lateral fails, it will be paid for out of
Yes.
this utility.
And right now, with this money, the number of failures that we could repair 20, we haven't had 20 in a year, but we get probably close to that. With the other money, I want to go out and.
You could be a little more proactive and get ahead of the curve and get
Yes.
that. And you said rehabilitate. This is mostly going to be that lining process with that kind of glue-soaked sock thing, right?
That's one way. You can also do a pipe bursting and push a new pipe
Okay.
inside.
You're
and
ramming a new
burst the
pipe
old
in?
one.
Okay.
There's another slip lining, a smaller diameter through.
Mhm.
So we'd look at all options, whatever's the cheapest.
Vince?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, Joe, we do know that already through our quarterly water bill, the rate went up with going into Milwaukee sewage district. So was a rate increase not too long ago. So the questions that we getting the $400,000, actually what it is, Milwaukee Sewage District, they get that money and they give it back to us, the $400,000. Really, basically, that's what it is. So people already in our communities, the taxpayers, people who pay the water bill, they do pay already that percentage higher because we were asked by the Milwaukee Sewage District to raise the rate. Is that correct?
I believe the money that they are using, I don't know for sure. I could ask, we have someone from MMSD here, the guy in charge of their private property program is in the audience here, if you want to have him comment on that.
Well, my comment is already we do pay that amount, that percentage people pays already. So, I'm not objecting to the idea, Joe. I mean, I talked to you months ago already. We talk about it. So I'm not really opposing it. But the questions it is, if people already, what we heard tonight, people pay already the higher rate because a lot of the usage fees are connected with the water bill. So, which is higher. And just not too long ago, Milwaukee Sewage District, they raised the rate, so now we get the $400,000. Look like they give us their money, but really they don't. I mean, that's money that people pay already.
Yeah, and they're not hiding that. Their actual plan at one time was they would raise the property tax portion of their money, not the rates, but the property tax portion. They raise it and return it, earmarked only for work on private property. So they basically got our foot in the door to do private property work, which they think it's important enough that it's going to solve a lot of problems. And what it'll do, if we can reduce the flows, we can reduce the cost of upsizing sewers in the future. So you actually are going to save money for the bigger sewers you would have had to build.
I'd like to adding the set of questions. The flow of clear water, I mean, is not just is caused by us, by West Dallas. It's caused by many other stuff from New Berlin and many other communities are causing because they don't have no underground storm sewer programs. They don't. So all the water, I mean, it goes into our rivers here, go into Jones Island, and that's part of the whole problem that we're facing with. It's not just West Dallas, So we as a older community seem like, the people that they'll be facing with a future burden to their pockets, and that's what, like I say, I have some problems with. That's why I'm kind of objecting, because the other communities which they're causing us the problems, really, they do, because the runoff water comes in all to the lakes and into the rivers.
Mr. Chairman? Overall, I think this is a very good idea, and I think it's something that we should pursue. And I'm going to make a motion at this time that we instruct staff to pursue this and come back to us with a concrete plan addressing all of the concerns that were brought up here at the table this evening.
And that's a motion for the Administration and Finance Committee, Alderman Lysick.
Correct. And a second.
Second. Okay, all members of the Administration and Finance Committee, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay. Alderman Barzak?
Public Works would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Same.
Second.
Same motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Moved by Alderman Weigel, seconded by Alderman Ranky. Is there any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. So,
Joe, a lot of good questions raised tonight, so, I think we have to go through the towns that we have to go through this. The cost, I don't think is a problem, but a lot of good questions raised. So you can think about those and address each of the concerns.
Thanks, Joe. We're leaving. Did you hear me vote for Public Works?
I don't have a program. I want to take everything behind it. Because right now, all we know is we said, we have nothing of what really happened on our side.
Okay.
Public Works.
Yeah, I gotta get in. They've internally committed to a 10-year program. No, there's no guarantees because their budget is year to year too. But also their whole program is really a pilot program and Kickstarter. Is to encourage it. It's got nothing to do about fully funding it or whatever. It's their attempt to try to get the communities and all the communities I'm aware of that have entered into it to start going after
him to be done. Meeting of Public Works will now come to order, and the first item on tonight's agenda is item number 33. It's a resolution extending a professional services contract with AECOM, which might be ECOM, to provide consultant services relative to the storm water plan, reviews and compliance with DNR, NR 151 and NR 216, and MMSD's Chapter 13 rules for the sum not to exceed $10,000. Mike Lewis?
Yeah, this is an in-out account. We've been working with AECOM for quite some time now. When developers come in with their plans, whatnot, if it's related to stormwater issues with MMSD or that, they're the ones that help us evaluate and to basically approve those plans prior to going to MMSD and or the DNR. So it's an in and out. We just put a number on it. I'm not sure if we spent little or nothing last year because we really didn't have anything come through. But the developer, the developer, the business pays for it.
So looking for a motion to adopt?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Ranky, seconded by Alderman Weigel. Is there further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Weigel.
Mike, so obviously we're happy with the work that AECOM does, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna need this on the hotel development at 82nd
Yes, we are.
Greenfield, because that's a big project.
That's in all likelihood the next one.
Yep.
Further discussion? With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 34 on tonight's agenda, resolution relative to extending an agreement with Aris Associates for methane and groundwater sampling at the Lincoln Avenue landfill site for an estimated amount of $10,100. Mike Lewis, an engineer?
Yeah, this has been going on. DNR requires us to monitor the groundwater methane at the old landfill and back at the police station. This fee, the 10-1, they have charged. In fact, they haven't charged. It's always been a little bit under, but they've kept it that way since at least 2010. I've got it in a resolution there, 2009. So we're happy with their plan. Their work.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Weigel, seconded by Alderman Ranky. Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, this is all budgeted for this being here? Okay, thanks.
Mr.
Didn't
Chair.
get the word Alderman Chaplesky out, so I'm
Okay.
sorry about that. Alderman Ranky?
How often is this done?
They monitor twice a year.
Twice a year?
Yes.
I
And
see.
there's a big report with all kinds of chemicals and that I can't pronounce that goes to the DNR. And DNR hasn't called me, and I certainly haven't called them.
I can call, I have a-
So things are okay.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
we have to do this forever.
I hope
Right?
not.
I mean,
but
someone,
we have been
essentially,
doing it ever since
that's
it
what
shut
comes
down.
with owning a landfill, having a landfill, even a closed landfill. This is a perpetual cost.
I hope not, but it's short.
Until the
In
DNR 's
in
gone.
my time here, it's going to be. We'll be seeing this every year.
My understanding when we did that, because that's part of the athletic complex behind there someday maybe, and is that the DNR said you have to do it as long as there's stuff coming out of there. Once it stops, you're done.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I hope I live that way.
I don't think we'll see it. Any further discussion? Item number 34 has been moved by Alderman Weigel, seconded by Alderman Ranky. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 35 on tonight's agenda, communication from the principal engineer, Peter Daniels, regarding the letter sent by Mayor Dan Devine to Wisconsin DOT opposing the potential closure of South 68th Street and 60th Street access ramps on the I-94 as part of the I-94 East-West Corridor study. And I believe the principal engineer, Peter Daniels, is with us here tonight.
I am.
We'll turn it over to you.
Just wanted to quickly tell you that we sent a strongly worded letter objecting. They're closing 4 ramps. They're closing these 2 ramps now where you get on at 68th Street, get off at 68th Street. And they're closing the ramps getting off at 60th and getting on at 60th. And it's going to be very goofy because this is a very hard map to understand, but part of the freeway will be in a tunnel. So if you want to get off, say you want to get off at 70th Street to go to MATC, you'll actually be exiting way over by Miller Park. and you'll go in this tunnel, and then you will emerge on this collector road and you'll get off. So you'll be getting off 1.8 miles before, whereas now you get off right here.
Right.
Now you'll be getting off a mile down the road. So we sent a letter objecting.
There'll be signs.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, Alderman Weigel. I'm sorry, Alderman Chaplowski. My apologies.
But that's still for 60th also, though. There will be an exit on 60th.
No.
That's what I'd say right now, and I talked to him.
Well, there are 4 different versions. There is one version where they
Well,
show,
no, it's basically the same thing like you said for 70th. 60th was supposed to, you take like the same road, and you see how the curvature comes out?
But
that's
this is
existing.
actually in a tunnel underneath. So you're actually getting off the freeway up here, way over here. It's hard to understand, but these.
So they are eliminating 60th,
Yeah,
you're
see
saying,
how
totally.
these colors represent that you're underground, and these colors represent that you're above ground. So this above ground part is here, and you're getting off way over here, and you're underground. So yes, you can get off at 60th, but you're getting off a mile and a half before that to get off at 60th.
Right.
You have to decide.
But what I'm saying, though, yeah, I understand that the signs are going to be way ahead, but you're going to be able to get off on 60th and use 60th. too.
As well as
That's-
70th. It's
Right.
just going to be inconvenient. You're going to be on this frontage road. It's going to be slower. It's going to be.
But it's a frontage road that there's no other access to, not like now.
There are different versions. I mean, there could be signals here. Here could slow you down. They're looking at different options. It's not necessarily going to be a fast way. It might add an extra 5 minutes from here to here, the way it is there now. You can zip in and get off here, but you may be held up here, and then you can get off. So it's a two-year study process.
Yeah, it's not final yet, though,
No,
is
it's
it?
not final. It's a 2-year process. So I just wanted to.
Yeah, the mayor sent another letter.
But the letter going out is, again, strongly worded and, yeah, Alderman wrote.
I know, this is just.
It's unsafe. The ramp's unsafe.
They want fewer.
They want fewer ramps.
Hang on. Peter, a question from Alderman Rowe.
And I know this is just communication, but this is just for my own. Which part is underground, west or east or both? Westbound or eastbound or?
It depends. There are several different options.
Oh, okay, well, I didn't. know
In
you-
this one,
Don't go
it's
into them all,
both,
and I just
both
thought.
directions.
Okay.
Both directions.
When will, Mr. Chair, when will
Alderman.
this be final?
It's a 2-year process. The next year, I think they'll finalize it. They won't actually build it till 2019, 2020. So it's a ways off, but we got to speak now or forever hold our peace.
So with that, I believe that Principal Engineer Peter Daniels wants us approved and placed on file. Is that correct?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Weigel, seconded by Alderman Chaplowski to approve and place on file. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 32, I skipped it on tonight's agenda, is a resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Works City Engineer to pay for sanitary sewer lateral repairs at 1944 South 84th Street, totaling the amount of $9,894.72.
Our fault?
Yep.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Chaplowski, seconded by Alderman Weigel. Further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
if we adopt this new I&I utility program thing, then these will no longer come to us. They'll just automatically be taken care of out of that fund. Is that
We
correct?
could do it that way. Yeah. Yeah, because these are our responsibilities.
Right,
At
the
this
ones that
point-
are our responsibility will now, will be paid out of this fund also, correct? Right now, this $9,000 or whatever we just approved is coming out of Public Works budget or?
Coming out of sewer utility.
Out of sewer utility.
Under emergency repairs,
Okay.
or we got some line item there.
So we may see a little something along the way. I'm not gonna say lower taxes.
Reduction, no, frankly, no. I mean, the system is going downhill quick. I mean.
What you might see is instead of this $9,800, we probably would have went right up the lateral to the house and fixed the whole thing from the fund. That would be my assumption. We wouldn't have just did the city, but we would have went and said, let's repair this.
Yeah, but we would have had to repair it at where the break is and then rehabilitate it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 36, communication from the Director of Public Works, City Engineer, on behalf of Alderman Michael May regarding supplying of water to an ice rink at La Follette Park.
Yes, there's various voluntary organizations that are looking at, with the county's cooperation, to put an ice rink out at La Follette. The request has been that the city supplies water for it. I'm not even sure how big the ice rink would be, but I mean, these things are, it's not the pond or anything, it'd be maybe 100 by 100 or maybe a little bit bigger than that. But for us to run out there and fill it up with water is not a huge amount of money. You know, I'm guessing at $500. I can find $5.
And city staff time.
Yeah, the fire department has already, I don't know if Steve
Volunteered it.
but has volunteered to run out there and fill it up.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, that makes it a lot easier on us because we don't.
Yeah, there's no labor.
Our little garden holes wouldn't work.
The only thing, the comment that I'm going to make is I grew up in the 3rd District. I was born there in 1952. Yes. Honest, I really am. And we had ice rinks at Walker. We had ice rinks, I think, at Mitchell, Franklin. We had them all over. And the maintenance on them was extremely high and then I remember it was packed with kids. And then as we got older, there were a lot of kids. And then there were a couple kids. And then pretty soon, nobody was showing up. They used to plow all of Greenfield Park, open for skating, packed. Today, they plow just a little circle. If they even do that anymore, nobody shows up. I'm not against this, but I'm just, the history of them is the kids are using the internet, the kids are using Nintendo, the kids are using Game Boys or whatever. They're not skating on ice rinks, but it's a neat idea, and let's see where it goes.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Alderman Rankin.
I also agree. I looked in the past, and we also, I think they had ice skating rinks almost at every playground. It was a thing, and it was a different era because the kids were outside more and they did more things of this nature. However, nowadays I don't know if we'd have the success that that is being considered in this, and the costs for the water. It's just the cost, and the cost for the maintenance, the cost for the staff. I do think it's an excellent idea to bring the kids back to playgrounds if in fact that's what is needed. However, I am hesitant because I think it will spark, you might say, some interest in providing these ice rinks all over West Allis then. It just won't be La Follette, then, okay, then we'll have different parks come forward.
The one big difference is that this one's all volunteer. The construction of it, putting it up, is all through volunteer, not the city. All we're doing is providing water.
Okay.
So the whole thing's being constructed by the volunteer group, Friends of La Follette Park.
Right, but then who will maintain it, and
They
who
do.
will staff it?
They do.
The Friends will take
Yep.
care of all this.
All we're doing,
I
water.
see. Okay, well, that makes it more palatable.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Oh, nobody's
we
moving
didn't have
seconded
any.
yet.
Move
Sorry.
approval.
Second by Alderman Weigel,
Approve, place on file.
second by Alderman Chaplusky. This is to approve and place on file. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Number 37, it's crossed out, 36-7, is a communication from the Director of Public Works, City Engineer, on behalf of Alderman Vitale regarding the proposal to help deal with the health issues related to rodents.
Well, rodents are becoming a bigger and bigger problem certainly on the east side, but throughout the whole city. I mean, it's not just the east side. And one of the contributing factors of that is how some people are storing their garbage, laying their garbage out prior to collection. And it's Alderman Vitale's idea that, and it's certainly justified because we see a lot of weird, or in some cases non-existent containers out there, to require everyone to purchase at a fairly modest cost here, a city garbage cart, and require them to use that instead of some of the things that we see out there as a good attempt to start getting handled, start controlling the problems that are out there. The health department, I believe, sent out a mailing, probably I believe from 60th Street east, asking for people's help in that area in order to combat this growing problem that we're having. And many cities out there have got the same thing.
Is this a request for the first district only?
No, it would be, I believe that the alderman is looking citywide. Through discussion eventually, I'm gonna ask to amend it for first district only. I don't want to put that cost. That's a $45 cost. And we've had people maybe just buy brand new garbage cans from Ace Hardware a week ago. I don't know. And now they gotta take those somewhere and go buy this container. I'll support it in the first district only. It's his idea. But I really don't want this in the third district. Otherwise, I won't support it. We've had this discussion over and over. Alderman Chaplowski.
My understanding, 65% of the city already has them.
Yes, pretty much.
You know, so it's the other 35. You know, first of all, it's anybody who doesn't have one should have one. It's a tremendous way. I mean, I had garbage cans for years. When I got this, it was unbelievably better. But I also have the same problem that Alderman Barzak has, where, as you saw Carol in front of us tonight saying, trying to get the money for this, and you know, people are getting assessments for streets and assessments for alleys, and now we're coming to and saying you have to buy a garbage can. Now, I'd be willing to be in favor of it if it's for absentee landlords, because they usually don't supply proper garbage cans. But as far as to go and just tell everybody to do it, once again, people just don't have the money. Now, even though
it would be phased. I mean, it would be phased. It would not be immediate.
Okay, what type? I didn't hear anything.
We're looking at a phasing there of at least a year, and it could be even longer in order to give some of these. I mean, these Menards garbage cans don't last very long.
Well, my understanding with the plastic garbage cans, they're already against our ordinance.
Right.
But we're not enforcing it.
That's right.
So, you know, let's just start enforcing it. But it's just, you know,
I guess, I mean, that's the other option. We could start enforcing it there and have that come down on everyone. But I mean, the alderman's got a point here that we've got to start helping ourselves, and when it comes to the growing problem that's
I
getting out there,
understand the problem. I'm an alderman from the first district too, you know, but it's also, you know, people just don't have the money. Things are not good out there, and truthfully, there's a lot of people that don't even see that. Most of the politicians, and you know, don't see how bad it is. You know, but when you go to the convenience store and the person's paying for their cigarettes and their gas with change, you know, you can see how bad it is. So, but I just I can't support it. So it's another. Even though Carol was on both sides of this issue.
Yes.
You know, but it's still, I just can't force somebody to go and buy. I wish they would, but I can't force it.
Mr. Chair? I think
Alderman Rowe.
Alderman Shaplewski said he got it before I could. I think enforcement of the ordinances we have. You know, you don't have you're putting bags of garbage out there, and it should be contained.
They don't even have a container in most instances.
It's just gonna sit.
That's my point. Let's enforce what we have.
It takes a lot of time to go out there and enforce this stuff. It takes a lot of time and effort. And while this is all going on, the rats are chewing on the garbage.
Well, they're there every week. I mean, it can be enforced every week.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
This is for information purposes. Aren't there cities that provide the garbage containers?
Yes.
Yes, there. Yep.
Is that cost prohibitive?
Well, the problem is you got
mine. I
people
want my
already-
money back.
Yeah.
I know.
I bought mine and now you're giving it away.
Yeah.
Same thing with laterals.
I mean,
I
you can
just put a new
certainly do
lateral
that.
in last year.
You can
Last
certainly
year
do
they're
that.
free.
I was gonna bring.
They're not free.
No.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Alderman Weigel.
At this $45 price is what we're talking about?
Yep.
But that's subsidized already, right? That's
well-
not our cost on them.
No.
My understanding is that we're already, and now if suddenly we require a bunch more people to buy these, we're gonna move through a lot more product, and we're losing money on every sale, so to speak. So there's gonna be an impact there also.
That's true.
I think enforcement is the way to go, basically. if we can possibly try that.
From what I'm hearing, I'm probably going to entertain a motion to place on file, not approve, just place on file. Is that correct?
Right. I would move to place on file.
It's been moved by Alderman Chapletsky, seconded by Alderman Ranky. Is there further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 38 on tonight's agenda, communication from Director of Public Works on behalf of Alderman Martin Weigel regarding the policy relating to pedestrian signs.
Remember I believe at the last meeting there, you approved those pedestrian type of signs with state law and that for Jefferson and St. Paul. The alderman at the time suggested that we should take a look at the policy on really reviewing what we've already got on the books. We could handle this by grant of privilege. And I know Scott and I talked about this a little bit, and even though we want to make some, we'll make some minor revisions or maybe some major ones. I don't know what you might find in there. He's looking at those policies now, but certainly with the current ones that we have, we can deal with these signs pretty easily with what we have.
Mr. Chair?
Yep, Alderman Weigel.
One of the things I want to make sure that we had a matter of consistency so that everybody understands what we're talking about. You were at Jefferson, and if you sent the same email to her that you sent to me, it didn't say stop sign. There was a confusion. Some people might have thought we're talking about stop signs. We're not talking about traffic control signs with a stop sign. We're talking about the temporary little sign that says state law requires yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk.
Yep.
They're up at West Milwaukee High School or middle school,
They're everywhere.
24/7. And we're not advocating that. We're saying they're only up when the traffic, essentially the crossing guard is there. But I want to make sure they're consistent and that we know where they are and that they're there legitimately. So
I sent her a picture too, a sample picture. But,
Alderman Rowe?
I'm trying to read quickly while I'm thinking, but in the schools are responsible for dragging these things up in and out and everything like that.
providing them, supplying them.
They'll pay for them, they'll replace
Okay.
them when they get hit by a car. They're theirs.
Aren't you optimistic?
They already have.
Move to, what are we doing?
Place on file.
Place on file, yes, that's what I was.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alderman Rote, seconded by Alderman Weigel. Further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Ranky.
when these signs are put up by the schools or whomever, do they have to have permission to do this
Yes.
from the city?
Technically, yes. There are signs out there that have not received formal permission. This is one way to try to get a handle on all of this.
Okay.
Of what they're doing out there.
So once we come up with the rules, you might say, we'll probably have more success.
Yeah, and go out there and get an inventory of what's out there. I mean,
They're not a problem now.
No.
We just
No.
don't want them to turn into one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. I'm going to take 39 and 40 together, and if you want me to
Move for
read.
approval.
Second.
So
I wanted
much.
you to read it.
Moved by Alderman Chapletsky, seconded by Alderman Weigel. For those that, that was the public hearing tonight, and with the public hearing tonight, we did not hear one person say the alleys were not needed, which is everybody, it's just they all had questions. Any further discussion on 39 or 40? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. With that, that is the end of Public Works, and I'll turn the meeting over to Alderman Chapletsky, who is Chairman of License and Health. And I found 32. That was laying under my stuff.
Let's call License Health to order, and we'll call Jill Wiskowski. Wiskowski?
Wasowski.
Mickey?
Sorry,
I know how it is.
It's been butchered.
I know how that happens.
I have it. I said.
My maiden name is Hay, much easier.
Okay.
It's mine.
Now you're gonna be taking over or opening up the bar, the old Jaws. Have you ever done this before?
Yes, I have. I've never owned, but I've held for 25 years now in the city of West Allis a bartender's license. Started back in '88. I worked for my uncles at the Hayloft. And
Okay, that's some time ago.
Not that old.
I'm not that old, but I've never had a blemish on my record. Oh, I did back in '97.
Okay, Okay. Is there any discussion by anybody?
Mr.
Any
Chair.
questions? Alderman Weigel.
We haven't had the pleasure of having you in here.
Yeah, not at all, no.
No, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna tell you, and this may be for the benefit of other people who are applying for a regular bartender's license. And I don't know, we can't tell you what to tell your employees, but we want bartenders to be the ally of the police. We want them to card. We want them to not serve people that are drunk. We want them to help solve problems and not create problems.
Absolutely.
You understand that?
I've
Yeah,
lived
and
my 25 years.
That's why I said we haven't seen you in here.
You bet.
And you've
Those are
been-
a lot of rules of mine.
And you've been bartending full-time?
Full-time.
So this isn't just been, you've been working?
This is my
You've been
career.
supporting yourself on this
Absolutely.
for quite some
Yes,
time?
sir.
And we haven't seen her. See, to me, that says a lot. So, and the type of establishment you're gonna run is a couple pool tables and a dartboard?
I've got a pool table, a couple dartboards, we're serving some pizzas, just a nice quiet little area. I don't serve people that have walked in that I can tell have been drinking. My bartenders won't either. I just left Jilly Beans. I was managing that place. It was named after me. I moved over here and I've taken a couple bartenders with me, the ones who know my rules and know how strict I am as a manager and now owner.
And I think you've probably seen some of the problem bars that we've had in our community the last couple of years. It's the music you play, it's what you charge
Exactly.
for a drink, it's the behavior you tolerate.
Yep.
And if we never see you again, we'll be very happy.
I'm hoping that you
Unless we
never
stop in
see
for a
me.
drink.
Please do.
Mr. Chairman?
Please do.
Two things. Jilly beans. We just had them in front of us at our last meeting. In
Okay.
fact, it was placed on file, and it has to do with music. There's three bars there that play music on a regular basis, and it all blends together. So it's not Mad Dogs or Red Dogs, whatever it's called. It's not
Mad
Little
Dogs.
Havanas, and it's not your place. But all three together kind of cause us a little problem. And what we ask is that when you're playing music, and that jukebox is a little bit loud, even in the summer, that door's got to be closed.
Mhm.
You can't have that door open. So that's number
Absolutely.
one. Keep that in mind, because that is a residential area where
Yes.
you're going.
Yes.
Second is Weeds and Seeds, phenomenal program. We're given money by the federal government, and what we do is we take somebody that's underage, and we send them into your bar and try to
Mhm.
purchase a drink. And we do this on a regular basis. We do it for cigarettes, we do it for beer depots, and we do it for bars.
Okay.
So you check ID, because when that person comes in, they're gonna say, I didn't bring it with me. And you're gonna know right away that, so ID.
Yes. No one gets served without an ID.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman?
Alderman Road.
In 5 years, I think when it was Jaws, we only saw her once.
Right.
And it was for a fight that kind of just went away. And I think one nuisance smoking call, so.
Right.
I wish you well. I'm the alderman of the district.
Oh.
It's always been quiet
Thank
over
you.
there.
It's going to stay quiet. I'm not young. I'm a little older. My crowd is a little older. My people, my friends, my partner Jason's friends, we're all a little bit older. We just want a place to go, have a few drinks, go home. I'm not 21 or even near my 20s anymore.
I wish you well.
Thank you very
Good luck.
much.
Do I have a motion?
I appreciate that.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Best of luck
Thank
to
you very much. We
When's your
really
grand
appreciate it. Tomorrow. No.
Are you thinking a
As
week,
quick
a
as we
month?
can, within a week.
Well, you have to have the inspections and all
We've
that
got
stuff.
it all
That's
covered,
clear?
all
So,
taken care of.
good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yep, good luck to you.
Which one is it?
The old Jaws.
Ahmed
Yeah,
Hassan?
yeah.
Ahmed Hassan?
Oh, I don't have that back.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't have,
we
I had
don't
a
have that
file,
here?
someone stole my file.
You weren't invited today.
Okay, you're opening up on Burnham Street.
Yes,
Okay, do you know why we called you here?
for the cigarettes license.
Yeah,
We don't call in everybody that gets a cigarette.
we called you here because of this. That's your traffic record, right? And see, here's how I always look at the traffic,
Okay.
right? Any license we give out, whether it be a bartender's license, a bar license, cigarette license, it comes with rules and regulations, the same as your driver's license. You obviously don't pay attention to your driver's license, so why should we think that you're gonna pay attention to our rules and regulations with your cigarette license? And that's why you're in here. I mean, if you look at all these from 2008 to 2012, it's just loaded. And so, you know the rules, We do the same thing that, like Alderman Barzak mentioned with bars, we do where we send people in to buy cigarettes. And we're not going to tolerate any problems there. Okay? Any other questions?
Yeah.
Alderman Barzak?
Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Do you currently have a driver's license? Could I see it? Do you mind? Because it says it's been revocated.
Yeah.
Good enough. Okay.
What?
Good enough.
So, any other questions?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna add, it's a long record, but I don't see any alcohol, I don't see any weapons, I don't see any drugs on here. I move for approval.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Be opposed? Carries.
Thank you, good luck.
Thanks.
Check IDs.
Pauline Zager?
Ziegler.
Ziegler.
Oh, I left the L out of her, that's all.
She could be a no-show.
Pauline's not here?
Second time round?
I think it is.
Someone's a complaint.
This is Ziegler, yeah.
She's not here, that's submit guilt.
Oh, that was the
Must be a long drive over.
This place isn't around
We need
anymore.
to make
is it?
sure we got service on her. Yeah. Be an important.
So you want to come all the way down from 7100 North Santa Monica Boulevard in Washington.
So what do we?
Hang on, he's checking to see if she signed the...
This is Aaron's.
It might be attached to that file that you have on the Mitchell.
Whether she signed it?
Whether it was served or
Yes.
not.
Yeah, these two.
Mexican place?
No, these two. It's was it a pizza joint? Was it pizza?
Here we go.
Which place is this?
It's in the mall.
Well,
It's in the strip mall.
you have that
She's got
Asian food.
Yeah,
This
Apple.
is D's two?
Is that the Apple
Yeah.
place?
Yeah.
D2.
It's not the Mexican place.
Yep.
It's not Margarita Paradise.
Well,
And it's
served on the registered agent of the corporation. Alderman Ziegler, yeah.
So then you're looking
There's
for
an
a motion
affidavit, so
to
you can now take your motion and take whatever action you feel is appropriate on it.
revocate.
Yeah.
Move to revoke?
Second.
We don't, we don't have to go through the whole thing?
No, you take her fair to appear as
Yeah.
an admission, and
Okay, it removes the
Move to
revoked
revoke.
license? That was all, thanks, Don? Who was the second?
I did.
Okay, second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Then we have,
Sandeep.
thank you.
Sandeep's here because he didn't cut down his tree.
There is no tree.
Do we have do we have Ted Atkins?
Ted Atkins.
Just like a stump that's this big. And I don't know which tree.
Okay, this is number 64, is this
That's
63 and
this is
64?
81st and
Right.
81st Street.
And number
10th
9 and 8, I don't even know about that. I have no idea. See, usually when I have a parking ticket or something, they send me a letter, it's overdue, and I go pay, but number 9 and 10, if you see there, I have no idea about that. I thought I fixed the problem.
He's here. He's out
What's
there
that?
somewhere. We'll get him in here.
9, 10.
But now you know what has to be
That would
done.
be cost.
Right, now I know,
Infinite
I will
fault
take care of
judgment,
it.
$1,000.
There he is.
he doesn't know anything about it.
Not yet.
Have a seat, Ted.
Only 2 or 3
Would
years
you, okay,
Points, basic.
Yo, Art Hubner issued a notice of building code violations.
At that address.
This
Oh,
is
we
the
took
bar,
took judgment again, yeah.
the
Liquor
liquor store.
Liquor store.
I am now more knowledgeable.
yes.
We have violations from renewal. I don't have them with me, sorry, I didn't do that. And also a new license holder has applied, and those violations from renewal are carried over to the guy that wants the new license in mid-year here. Jenna's not here, but I think we've been to court. There's a lot of confusion going on here, and it's a shell game is what I'm going to call it, between the buyer, a seller, the owner of the property, and saying, well, I'm going to be him and I'll be him and who is him.
We
And
had
it's a
a
game
problem with
going on
the
here
use.
that's ridiculous to the point of who is who. I don't know if he's the owner of the property, but there's communications, there's been all this. They thought they were going to we'll get a new guy to come in and he'll take care of everything. Well, he's not taking care of anything.
So, and he said also 9 and 10 on here, he doesn't understand what wasn't.
Because
Here it is.
it does say I took care of it in November 2nd, 2011. I had no idea there was a court fee involved or anything. I'd rather pay the 25 than 1,000 if I had known.
Nine is a judgment, and Jenna,
Right, and here's our first file that we took him to municipal court, and we got a $1,000 judgment against him in municipal court, because he didn't appear. And that's now been...
2010, correct?
That was,
Scott, this gentleman here didn't appear? This gentleman here?
Sandeep, right.
Yeah.
Sandeep and Sonia Burma.
Yeah?
But at that time I took care of everything, so I didn't know there's more fees to pay because if to replace the roof, that was the thing.
Well,
a couple minor other things.
And then we have another file that, the appearances just go on and on and on, and nothing's been done yet.
So, okay.
Mr. Chairman, here's my recommendation is that we give him 2 weeks to the next council meeting at recess to meet with Ted, to meet with the city attorney, and everything must be completed, everything must be in, or we go ahead with this.
Okay, no, that's fine. I will take care of. But what I'm saying is,
and just 2 weeks. Okay? You got 2 weeks to clear everything up.
Okay.
Any disagreement on that?
And then you understand, right?
Ted, are you happy
no, I
with that?
do understand.
he's not gonna get it done in 2 weeks.
There was another owner. That's
We understand that too, but
It's outdoor stuff.
you own the property, right?
Yeah, I own the real estate.
So
then he makes some type of
order here.
you want to have some value in the real estate.
Okay.
Okay, got it. So, that's what the committee here is saying.
Okay.
When it's back in 2 weeks, it's not done, we're gonna go for revoking of your license. Ted, do you have anything else to say?
No, another one.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just gonna go a step further. If there's some major repairs or painting, et cetera, take in consideration the weather, and then, the date's gotta be set for when that has to be completed by then.
I understand. So what
we
can be
can't-
done now will
must
be done in 2 weeks. Anything else, that's paying of the fines, that's paying of everything.
Yes.
Now, if I may go with, we have a license application that's pending, and is that part of what we're talking about here? We
You have
also
another new tenant? You got a new guy going in again?
No, not
the guy
again.
that's
Not
there
the
now.
one that was just the one that was here last time.
Yeah, he came in front of us.
He's in there operating now.
Yes. I'm still there because he hasn't picked up his license yet. He had to go out of town, so I'm still there. But he's the same guy. There's nobody else besides him. He's the one that's gonna be running it once everything is gone through.
So, but we're saying he can't pick up the license.
Well, he can't until he gets it, and by the
Until he
way,
gets it all done.
if I understand, you are the current license holder.
Yes.
You were informed what you needed to do for renewal.
I
And you have
wasn't there
not-
for 3 months. There was another tenant there at that time. Somebody else was running it. That's
But it
where
was yours.
everything got
Yeah.
messed up.
That was yours.
Okay.
So you're not supposed to let someone else operate on your license.
Right, we talked about that last time. I understand that. Now that's why I'm still there.
2 weeks.
Okay,
weeks,
so that's for 63 and
And
64.
one question, the tree. I mean, there's a
You
stump.
need to
I know that.
contact-
Okay.
Then it's cut off the stump.
Talk with Ted on that.
We'll have to
on
have
the
a
side.
meeting with Jenna and myself.
Okay. You said it to me.
And you.
Jenna, Assistant City
That's
Attorney.
fine.
You can talk.
Very good.
I usually have to do it.
Okay.
Good luck.
Stump out.
Okay, Jessica Rojo. Jessica? What is this? Oh, she called. What was that last time?
No, this is her second time, isn't it, Vicki?
Yeah, it said, well, it's a call 118 and then rescheduled for today.
She's not here. She never called,
Is this
city
a
clerk's office?
This is for a new application.
But the second time, this is the second chance, right?
Hang on, I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah. But this actually, this is just deny the claim. The motion is reconsidered and just deny and place and file.
Doesn't say in here.
Right.
Monica? There's nothing in here that says whether it's the first or second,
Good.
except for the note that's on the front. What is, oh, I don't have it.
Says your non-appearance on January 22nd. She
Okay.
did contact the clerk's office.
The last time, she's contacted the clerk's office this time. Obviously not.
There would have been a note otherwise.
Right. It just says reschedule, recess, question mark. So, do I have a motion?
Move to place and file. Deny and place and file.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Yeah, we're not sure if she was notified a second time, or you're positive she was notified.
A letter would be attached to the file regarding the appearance, probably the very last.
Is that letter
Because,
in there?
I mean, there's one blemish on her record, and I'd sure hate to have us have to have her reapply and do all that, because we know we would pass this. That's the thing. I know she needs to be here, but I'm up for
Let's give
giving
her
her
one
one
more
more
chance.
time.
All right,
more
one more
chance.
chance, third strike.
Close to
Do you take your motion back
I'll
then?
take motion off in a second, okay? Hold on, hold on.
I will remove unsecond myself.
Okay, we're just
Yeah,
gonna hold
one
on.
more time and until next
All right.
week.
Danielle Musta.
It's been a long night for Danielle.
Yeah.
Yes, and I've been in school all day,
She
so I'm
knows
sorry
more
if I
about
was
sewers
falling
than she
asleep.
wanted to.
Falling asleep with all this excitement. It's a new application, bartenders, 1022 South 60th. Is this gonna be a full-time, part-time?
The plan is just to help out a friend who's opening a new bar. I actually work at another bar on the north side. I've been there 7 years, so.
What bar are you gonna work at? I see it's 10, which one is it?
1022.
1022 and 60.
Is it?
Yeah, the original name.
Possibly. I mean, I haven't set times. I mean, I said I would go get my license and we'll talk from there.
You sat here all night long, you got a couple blemishes on here, you're in for the OWI. Move for
I know,
approval? I move for approval.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
you heard what I said to the woman who's opening a bar about what we expect. We want our bartenders to be part of the solution, not the problem. So if there's a problem, call the police. And when the police come, we want you to be able to say, yes, officer, that's the guy. Or they just left in a blue Chevy and here's the license plate, or whatever. We don't want you going, I didn't see anything, I don't know anything. Okay. And I guess the other question I have is, do you have a driver's license currently?
I don't.
How are you gonna get to work? You got your chauffeur? What a nice guy.
He really is. I don't have a car either right now, so.
Okay, so it's gonna be difficult. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Good luck, make sure you don't drive to work. Good night.
Last one, Mick.
Last but not least, Dan Spivey.
Say.
I don't see him.
Say. Always call
Spivey.
He's not here.
What?
Is this the second time or last time he called in?
He was very ill.
So this is the second time though?
But I thought there was another.
Was it the Yukon flu?
Nice.
Do we want to give him another?
There he
one?
is. Dan's
Oh,
here.
there he is, okay.
Dan's
We
here.
called him
Come
out.
on in.
Come on in, sit down.
That was close.
You didn't hear us call you?
About ready, just,
There was no room to sit when he showed up.
went to Marty's bar for a while.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry about missing the last meeting. I've been deathly ill since Christmas, so
And you know why you're here?
yes. In fact, at Christmas Day I was bedridden. And since then it's just been
Okay, you know, the big thing is you didn't call the police. And I mean, you know that
Yeah, I wasn't
more
there.
than anybody.
But
You
your
know,
bartender,
your
right?
bartender.
Your bartender said she was never instructed and didn't know she was supposed to call. Isn't that part of your obligation as the owner of the bar to instruct your bartenders?
This is a memo I have next to my cash register, taped to the.
Is she still employed by you is the next question.
It was a guy, Neil.
Okay, is he still employed by you?
Yes. Well, reason is because actually he's one of my best people.
And you didn't know about this at all?
Well, here's.
Like, how good is he?
Lesson from my last bar, Danny's Lounge in parentheses, it says, if anyone gets punched or situation you cannot control, or there is a scuffle inside or outside the bar, call the police immediately. The number is 302-8000. Don't hesitate. Important, be sure you tell the police that you're an employee at Hideout. We will get into trouble if we do not call the police for an incident. This has been taped next to my register since September.
Now, you've been with the owner of bars for a number of years, and this is one of your best bartenders, but did you ask him why he didn't comply with your wishes, your mandates?
He felt he had it under control, but what I was really angry about is I think somebody involved in it wanted him to call, and he still didn't.
So, well, you know how when everybody found out that you're running this bar now, after the other one, they didn't want you there. I got a number of calls from that, and you know, so everybody is watching everything you do. as reference to this email which the mayor got and I got, about noise. People blocking, cars blocking the street. And they're tired of putting up with it, and they don't think that you should be allowed to keep running the bar.
Noise.
And the noise, yeah, and you gotta keep the doors closed. I mean, you're even closer to residential now than you were before. And so, and everybody's watching you.
When the police have shown up there, they said they walked in and they said that it's not even the stereo, I don't know what it is. They said that they walk in, they go, it's not even loud.
Could be.
I wonder if it's, because we have that north entrance, I wonder if it's the patrons go out and they smoke, and that the houses are right there. On the east side of the building, there's really nothing, so maybe we need to have everyone go out and smoke at nighttime over on the east side of the building.
Well, needless to say, we're tired of seeing you.
See you again,
Talk to
Dan.
I can assure you I don't want to be here.
What you need to do is tell every one of your bartenders that you will not, that they will call the police. And then remind them to actually look at the note.
It looks to me like that note's in fine print.
Motion,
I copy it off.
motion to place on file.
Second.
I copy it off.
Is there any further discussion?
The only thing I'm gonna say is, don't let this start, because we're not gonna have too much patience with this, and you know that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Long night for everyone, huh?
Okay, then we have number 53.
Move to approve?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have number 54. This is for an event on
Move
the
to
9th.
approve.
And remedies. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we have number 55. This is O'Connor's again.
Approve. He has it every year.
Wasn't?
There
Never
was a
had a
question
problem.
about how late it was
Yeah,
gonna go.
The time, one of the evenings.
Yeah, where was it? Oh,
It
that's
says
on it.
11.
Okay, he asked for it to be 11?
It says, does it say 9 PM here?
8 to 9, 8 in the morning till
I'm reading 9 PM on the
9
agenda.
p.m.
I thought that might have been another event he was asking
And it's a
for.
Sunday night.
That's the only
and
event
there
he's
is school the
asking?
next day.
He,
It was put on the agenda as 9, but the application
Oh,
is
yeah.
requested.
he's asking for 11.
okay.
My opinion is it stays at 9 on a Sunday.
Well, that's what
Friday
I'm
or
saying.
Saturday, I wouldn't have a problem.
Well, that's our decision. Is that your motion, Alderman Parsec?
Motion is the 9 o'clock.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'll second that amendment.
Okay, this is as amended. Okay, so,
On the amendment,
okay. Okay, you just voted for an amendment or?
Yeah.
add-
right now to amend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amend that it
And-
says 9
and
PM.
who was second?
I did.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Now I move for approval of number 55 as amended.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carries. Okay, then we have
56?
56.
No problems, move approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we have second dealer's license.
57,
This is number 57, yeah.
approval subject to necessary requirements.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
You got 58, 59 at your discretion, it says.
See, now you don't have them, I guess it's not my discretion.
We'll just hold those.
That's been kind of taken away from me. Move to adjourn?
Mr.
Second.
Chair?
Yes.
Item number 58 on here is a bartender's license for the owner at 60th and Burnham. Is that correct?
Michelle Moore, yeah, that would
Right.
be, yeah.
But wasn't she the agent for the corporation?
Right.
She would have to be there.
Why did she need a license? Why did she spend $90 for a license?
It's her name, Martin. Was it Moore?
Martin.
Or-
It's
Oh,
Martin.
that was Martin. Oh, this isn't her? Okay.
Another MM.
Okay.
And then. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Apparently they're open.
Have you been by there yet?
I haven't been by there yet.
And apparently the barbecue place is open too. Tanner Paul.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Okay. Second.
Right.
Aye.